All right, let's dive straight into this explainer and completely reframe the hit MGM Plus series From. Because if you've been watching this show and treating it like just another standard supernatural mystery, well, we need to fix that framing right now. Today, we're unpacking this incredible theory by Plot Detective that shifts absolutely everything we know about this 96% Rotten Tomatoes rated show. We're going to see how the puzzle pieces of this terrifying town fit together, not as some random collection of jump scares, but as a highly deliberate, meticulously planned narrative.
You know, think about literally every horror show you've ever watched. Every single one of them has a monster. And more importantly, that monster has rules, right? Those rules make sense. Eventually, you figure them out, you feel super smart, and the credits roll. But From doesn't do that. It gives you monsters, sure, but then it completely breaks its own rules. It throws in looping roads, kids singing in the dark, and a guy in a yellow suit just casually walking through the sunlight without a care in the world. It creates this intense cognitive dissonance where everything you think you know is just wrong. It's frustrating, right? But actually, that frustration is entirely the point.
Section 1. Not just a monster show.
See, this is a deliberate puzzle. The creators behind this, including Lost alumni Jeff Pinkner and Jack Bender, they don't do lazy mystery boxes. With a confirmed 5th and final season already set as the finish line, they know exactly where this ends. So when the show keeps circling back to specific words or symbols, it's not just for creepy atmosphere. Take the word Angkui, for example. That haunting plea whispered by the ghost children actually translates to remember. It's the central plot hiding right in plain sight. From isn't about a monster town at all. It's a horror story about a story. One that was written wrong a very, very long time ago. And the people trapped inside are basically being begged to remember what happened so they can finally rewrite it.
Section 2. The Interrupted Ritual.
To really understand this, we've got to go back way before episode 1. I'm talking long before the town even existed. A group of people made a horrific deal in exchange for immortality. And the price for that deal was the worst thing imaginable. The crucial point here is this devastating number, 7. 7 children were placed on stone slabs and sacrificed by the very adults who were supposed to love and protect them. This wasn't some tragic accident. It was a deliberate, dark bargain struck for eternal life.
But here's the catch. The children didn't just quietly die. The sheer trauma of their deaths anchored their spirits to that exact place, screaming Anko Hui. They were screaming to be remembered for what was done to them. And the adults? Well, they got exactly what they bargained for. But immortality didn't exactly look the way they expected, did it? They became the night-hunting monsters, locked in darkness during the day, trapped in this relentless cycle they cannot break, creating a literal prison for anyone unlucky enough to drive into town.
So, if we break down this ancient deal, we find the fatal crack in the system. The deal was struck, the sacrifice began, but then came the refusal. 2 of the parents simply couldn't go through with it. They refused to sacrifice their child. And that beautiful act of parental defiance, it broke the ritual. It created an incomplete bargain. The loop was broken right then and there, and ever since the dark force behind that bargain has been desperately trying to finish what was interrupted. That incomplete ritual is the engine causing the looping roads and pulling people back.
Section 3. The Enforcer in Yellow. Okay, so this brings us to that terrifying antagonist introduced at the end of Season 3, the Man in Yellow. Because in this town, knowledge has a cost. He is the physical manifestation of this broken system trying to correct itself, and he absolutely does not mess around. Look at the difference here. While the cursed adults sleep in caves and are trapped in the darkness, he walks freely in broad daylight. He's not a victim of the curse at all. In fact, he's the one who killed Jim Matthews, the literal second he got too close to the truth.
And man, in Season 4, we saw just how dangerous he really is. The guy is a shapeshifter. He disguised himself as Sophia, a seemingly harmless pastor's daughter, just to manipulate the community's trust from the inside. Remember that chilling conversation he had with Tabitha? He showed visible excitement, revealing that he actually remembers all of her previous lives. He isn't the architect of the town, he's the enforcer. His goal isn't just to keep people trapped. No, he wants to finally complete that original interrupted sacrifice from centuries ago.
Section 4. The Reincarnated Parents. All right, let's dive into that massive Season 3 reveal, because it fundamentally changes how we view our core protagonists. They aren't just random people who took a wrong turn on a family road trip. Tabitha and Jade are actually the reincarnations of Miranda and Christopher, the exact 2 parents who refused to sacrifice their child all those centuries ago. They're the ones whose refusal cracked the ritual, and because the bargain is incomplete, it just keeps pulling them back, life after life.
Every time the cycle resets, they lose their memories and are doomed to start the nightmare all over again from the very beginning.
It's like a giant puzzle, and each of them holds one piece of the answer. Tabitha is the emotional key, right? She feels the deep maternal grief, and she literally hears the ghost children. Jade, on the other hand, is the structural key. He decodes the symbols and recognizes the logical patterns. Neither of them can solve it alone. But there's a much darker layer to their connection. In an earlier cycle inside the town, Tabitha and Jade actually had a child together who died and became one of those Nkui victims. So they aren't just connected to the tragedy, they are the parents of a victim.
Which brings us to this incredible quote. The prison is not the location. The prison is the unfinished story. This perfectly captures the nightmare fairy tale logic of the town. I mean, this is why the roads loop. It's why the trees physically move. The town operates on symbolic logic because it was literally built on a story. It's exactly why Tabitha was able to physically escape and wake up in a real-world hospital, only to be pulled right back. Escaping the map doesn't work, because the prison isn't a location on a map. The prison is the unfinished story itself.
Section 5. How to break the cycle.
So, with Season 4 showing the seams of this reality starting to tear apart, the bottle trees are failing, the seasons are shifting way out of order, and even the man in yellow is getting visibly rattled, the end game requires a very specific task for everyone. The goal isn't to gear up and destroy every single monster. To end this, Tabitha and Jade have to completely remember their past lives. Julie has to step up as a story walker and write the missing chapter, the children must be released from their unfinished grief to stop the town's engine, and Boyd, his role is absolutely crucial. Hold the community together and maintain their humanity while the others do the heavy lifting. They have to return to the original site and tell the children's story properly.
But look, the stakes could not be higher here. A previous cycle attempted to resolve this exact thing, and it failed miserably. The man in yellow manipulated things, it didn't work, and it resulted in an absolute massacre. Victor survived as a child and was kept alive as a human anchor for the system, which is exactly why he constantly draws pictures, so he doesn't forget. It's also why the new arrival, Ethan, is such a massive threat to the town's system. The town wants him gone before he can become the new storyteller holding the memories.
And that leaves us with one absolutely massive question hanging on the edge of our seats. Could the enigmatic boy in white actually be the child that Miranda and Christopher originally refused to sacrifice centuries ago? Think about it. He exists between life and death, his guidance is always kind of incomplete, and suddenly he's aging, which shouldn't happen. If he really is the missing piece of the original ritual, then the man in yellow's terrifying goal becomes crystal clear. Trick Tabitha and Jade into destroying the boy in white themselves, forcing them to complete the very sacrifice they refused to make so many lifetimes ago. To just let that sink in as we wait for the final season. What do you think the boy in white really is?